Hello everybody, welcome back to Making It Up. I am Isa. It is the end of another month, almost the end of the year, and I'm excited to announce that I have surpassed my reading goal for this year. I had 24 books for this year. I wanted to read 24 books. I've already read 28 books and I still have a month to go. So I'm excited about that, but I think I need to be more ambitious with my reading goals for next year because, I definitely proved to myself this year that I can read a lot. So stay tuned for next year's reading goal. But for today, in this video, I'm just going to be talking about the books that I read in November. You guys, I read so many, not so many, I read two very fun fiction books that I cannot wait to share with you guys. They're good ones. So let's get started. Let's stop the chit chat and let's get into the books, shall we? The first book that I read on my computer, so I don't physically have it with me. I know I need to get a Kindle or an iPad, and it is Cleopatra and Frankenstein. I've been seeing this book everywhere. Recently, it's been getting a lot of hype, but I've been wanting to read this for so long. I follow Lexi Lombard here on YouTube, and she talked about this book a few months ago, and ever since then, it's been on my reading wish list, and I finally got to reading it, and I will say I was not disappointed. This book is centered around Cleo, who's a 20-something, and Frank, who's a 40-something. Both are living in New York, and it's about their relationship, how they meet. It's a love story, but it is so much more than that. It's very real. It's very well written. Like, it was very engaging through and through. And the story is kind of told from different people's perspectives. So it's like Cleo and Frank, but also like the people around them, their friends, people they work with. They're also like telling the story through their point of view, which I thought was so interesting. It wasn't hard to follow at all. Like, that can get a little confusing, but it wasn't hard to follow. The characters were very charming, very quirky, but I felt like they were very real at the same time. And it is also a book that's set in New York City. You guys know my affinity to the city, and it was just everything I wanted it to be. Well-written characters, well-written New York City. What more could I ever ask for? If you've been debating on reading this book, definitely give it a read. It is very realistic though, so if you're in the mood for some fantasy, probably not the book for you, but it is so good. It is really, really nice. I wish I had it with me because I just love, it's so pretty. It's such a pretty book. I wish I had bought it physically, but I just cannot buy more physical books. I have no space for them, but I digress. I gave this book a 9 out of 10. Definitely worth the read. The other book I have is a novel by Rebecca Searle. It's called In 5 Years, and I wasn't expecting to love this book as much as I do. It's another book set in New York City. The Brooklyn Bridge should have tipped me off. This book is about a girl named Danny. She's a type A lawyer. She's very plan. She has her next 5 years of her life planned to the wire. And this is a story of how those next 5 years unfold. But it has kind of like a plot twist. Like, at the beginning of the book, Danny gets engaged, and on the night of her engagement, she has a dream about another dude. It felt very real to the point that she knows it's gonna happen. It wasn't a dream. Eventually it is going to happen. Like, she knows the date it's gonna happen, and it's in the next 5 years. So she spends the next 5 years trying to reverse that and like not make that happen, because obviously, she's already engaged and her life is something that she loves. So it is a very interesting story. I don't think I've ever read a story quite like this. It is a love story, but you don't expect it. Like, it is very surprising. It had been a while since a book surprised me as much as this one. The ending is gut-wrenching, but it's beautiful. You're not expecting this love story. It is so well written. It's a very easy book to read. Like, I read it in a week, and it is such a good story. All the twists and turns that it takes. It's very like mundane, but at the same time, not at all. I loved it. I loved it more than Cleopatra and Frankenstein, which I was not expecting, because that book to me was like hyped so much, and I'd read so many great things, and when I read it, I loved it. I didn't think this one was gonna top it, but it did. So for that, I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. Very underrated book. Like, I've never heard anyone talk about this, but it is really good. Okay, you guys, and that wraps up the 11th month of reading for 2022. That is crazy. I cannot wait to see what I get up to reading for the last month of the year and onward. If you guys have any recommendations for me, as always, let me know. What were you reading this month? What did you dig into? Was it good? Should I read it? Leave it down below. I'll add it to my list. It's a never-ending list, but eventually I might get to it and see if you were right. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you learned about some new books that you can add to your never-ending reading list. And I hope to see you right here for my next one. Thank you so much for watching. I love you, and I will see you soon. Bye. Mwah.